All right, good morning. It's December 23rd, 2022. It is 7 degrees here in Knoxville, Tennessee. We have a special guest with us, Ruth Sheahan. Did I say Sheahan right?
You did very good.
You just got to say it quickly, Sheahan. Um, she's in Chicagoland where it's
It just went up. It's warm now. It's -8.
-8 degrees. Okay. And Ruth has been in real estate for over a decade, has transitioned her business model into completely SOI and referral based. And she's going to share with us about that today. Definitely excited to hear from you, Ruth. And just going to let you take it away, and then we'll leave any time at the end for questions and talking back and forth some. So go ahead and take it away.
Thank you. So everyone on this call is EXP, right? So you
Currently,
understand just basically why you should listen to what I have to say. I've built my business to be entirely by referral and SOI. My business is pretty good. I do not have a $3.7 million deal, but lots of smaller ones. So, well, you know what? He knows people who also have $3.7 million. So stay next to him. That's really kind of what this call is all about. Every deal doesn't work out, but everybody knows somebody else who's going to sell. So make sure that you are the person that they think of when they think real estate. I know you guys do. I talked to Nikki a bit about how your team works and what you guys really excel at. And it sounds like you're really good at some things that I'm not great at. But I'm pretty good at that. So 3-time icon, since you're with EXP, you know what that means. And have really kind of had the ability to, at least so far, we'll see what this year brings, but kind of mold my business. It's not like I still get a day off or anything like that, but a little more leeway, because when you're working with people who know you, who already like and trust you, you get to start kind of at, level 6 instead of 1. To me, that makes my business a lot more pleasant and enjoyable. I don't spend time getting people to understand that I know what I'm talking about. Most of the time they start with a level of trust that takes a long time otherwise to gain. And to me, that makes the business a lot better. I mean, we all kind of, connect with different things energize us, different parts of the relationship might make a difference to you. Some people really enjoy a challenge and a conquest. That's not me. I'm like, hey, want to buy a house? Let's go look. So I also don't have to meet strangers at empty houses. I don't have much in the way of fallout. Every once in a while, it just doesn't work. Kind of like Jake, sometimes people decide that their best decision isn't to buy. And I feel like if I help them make that decision, I still did my job. I didn't get paid a lot for it, but the rest comes, because let me tell you, when you help somebody make the decision not to buy, they're going to tell 10 people. So, the other thing is that I tried to look up this statistic, but it's somewhere around 90% of people say that they would use their realtor again, and only 12%-ish do. And the reason is because we move on to the next transaction. We assume that somebody's not ready to move again. And we lose touch, and we don't do the things that got us there in the first place. And so when
Did you give
they're
that stat again? That stat again?
It's somewhere around 97, 90%, somewhere like 87% of people have said that they would use their realtor again.
Mm-hmm.
And then only somewhere in the 12% range do.
Okay.
So it's not because we didn't do a good job the first time. It's typically because we didn't stay in touch. Now, staying in touch is not something that most of us do well, because I think probably every other realtor I've ever heard speak says something about having some sort of ADHD. We're not really good at follow-up. We're not really good at doing things without systems in place to make us do them. So I encourage everybody, if you're interested in doing this, to build a system around it, because that's really the only way it works through the ups and downs of the market, through the times when you don't feel like it. Just like your follow-up systems with your cold calls and your internet leads and the leads that you get from other places, nobody, usually feels like doing any of that. But it's the only way that you stay in business. So I didn't do a PowerPoint. I just kind of wanted to talk about how we've built our system, give you some references for going in a little deeper to this, some things that have impacted me and helped me develop the way that I do the business. And is by the way, there's a group called EXP Family Tree. If everybody's not plugged into that, plug into it. Really great resource for lots of things. As I'm talking about systems, I did an interview in that group about systems and developing them. So if you're interested in that, go to EXP Family Tree and just look for my name.
All right, is that a website or is that
I'm
on
sorry, it's a
Workplace?
group in Workplace.
In Workplace. Okay. And if
Yeah.
you guys don't know what Workplace is, talk to me. Definitely you should be on there checking it. You get referrals through it and everything like that. And then one thing, Ruth, before you jump in, if any of you guys have like questions for Ruth, throw them in the chat. And then that way I'll jump in there and ask a question. Unless you see a clear break in the conversation, you can jump in with your own question. So feel free
Yeah,
to
I
put
really don't
questions
mind
in the chat.
if you jump in. I kind of have just a casual list of things to talk about. So if there's anything that you want to go deeper into or I don't make sense on, let me know. So the first part of the process is to make a list. And who goes on the list is pretty much everybody. Tom Ferry's got a great download. You can Google, or I can send you. I can send it to Phil, and he can share it. Just a memory jogger to say, your hairdresser, the guy who changes your oil, anybody who's in your life. You want to start with obviously your closest circle, and then work out to anyone who would kind of recognize you or know who you were. Once you make that list, then you need to connect with them. And this is one of the things that people don't want to use. This thing. You can make it so that it has buttons on it that when you press them, I don't know if you guys can see that. When you press these buttons, they're numbers. You'll hear like a ringing sound, and the person on the other end will talk to you like with a real voice.
She got jokes. She got jokes today.
So I know that's not usually what we use those phones for, but I believe there are certain instances where a phone call can't be replaced with a text. I'm also a certified success coach. And one of the most fascinating things I learned in that course is that the words we use comprise 7% of communication. So I've seen realtors brag about how they never had a real conversation with a buyer or seller and got them all the way through a transaction by text. Good luck not getting sued. They did not understand what was going on. There's no way that they really had a thorough understanding of what was going on. So text is great. It works really well for a lot of things. But when you make this list and when you first tell somebody that they're on it, you need to talk to them. So in person is always best because 100% of communication comes from facial expression and body language and proximity and all of those things. Zoom is probably second best. I use it now for most of our consultations. But phone call will get you where you need to go for the beginning. So you want to call them. You want to introduce yourself as a realtor. They might know you from someplace else. So you might be the carpool mom. You might be the Little League coach. You might be whatever other context that you're meeting people in your life. And it's really important that they start to identify you with real estate and they start to think of you as the real estate woman, the real estate man, and the person who can answer their questions. So when you call, Julie Nelson wrote a book called Success Faster. She is an EXP agent and coach, and I highly recommend her book. I go back to it often because it's just really a back to basics, and it's written for anybody who's in any stage of real estate. So she's got a lot of really great verbiage to use when you make these calls. One of my favorite things that I got from her is, you know, we want to establish authentic, real relationships. And so sometimes when we're calling somebody about business, it feels like it's not. It feels like it's salesy. It feels like you're using your friends. And so what she gave me was kind of a way to get permission to slide into that business persona. And she starts with, I have 2 questions for you, one business, one personal. Then you can say, the business question is, do you know anybody who's planning on buying or selling a house in the next 6 months? Whatever it is that you define that question as. Then you can go on to the personal. Hey, I saw, you know, on social media that you've got a senior about to graduate. Get into the, you know, chit chat of the relationship. Another thing you can do is, because people aren't typically as used to using the phone as they used to be, they have a hard time figuring out how to get off the phone. So if you set the expectation in the beginning, listen, I just need 3 minutes. I'm starting on something new and I need your help. That tells you exactly when you need to get off the phone. And so when you start going around and around in the conversations and repeating yourself, you want to say, okay, I just looked and we've been talking for 4 minutes and I don't want to be a liar. So I'm going to get off the phone and let's get coffee or a beer or whatever. So you can follow up with that. You have to get people's permission, especially people you know, before you start marketing to them, certainly by email, but it's helpful in everything. They don't know why you're suddenly sending them stuff about real estate. People don't understand our business or what we do or what we want from them. So we have to tell them. So you need to find a way to say, I'm a realtor. I need your help. Keep an eye and ear out for anyone who might be moving, and I would love to get connected with them. I don't ask people for referrals anymore. I ask them for introductions. It's a much easier ask, and people are really happy to introduce or connect their friends when we need something with one who can help them. If you get into, you know, more business language, sometimes that can be a little stilted, it feels like a big ask. The other thing I learned, I'm assuming that everybody who's on this call early on a Friday morning, right before Christmas, is somebody who's good at what they do and who cares about what they do. Has anybody ever
give a heck yeah? Yeah, we are. Woo!
Have any of you ever met a realtor who's not that? Anyone? Show of hands. Anyone ever met a realtor who sucks?
Yeah.
Do you want your friends working with them? So you're not asking your friends for something, you're giving them a gift of a realtor who's good at what they do and who cares about them. So that was something that took me a long time. I don't like asking people for anything. And when I first started asking my friends for referrals, which was what I called them then, it really felt uncomfortable until I met some other realtors. Then I started saying, hey, I am saving you from this. So keep that in mind. So as you build that list and as you call them, excuse me, you're going to rank your list. This next piece comes from Brian Buffini, another great resource to look up. They've got classes, they've got coaching, they've got systems. I ran my business completely with their system for about the first 4 years. After that, I started pulling in some other things, but really good way to get started working by referral. And there are people who've run their business with that system for everything. Buffini, Buffini. He's actually Irish with an Italian last name. He's from Ireland, but he's lived in California for 30, 40 years. His system is really simple, and really all of this working by referral is simple. That doesn't necessarily mean it's easy, but it is a really simple process. Sorry, when I talk too much, I have to, which is most of the time. So you want to tell them you're a realtor, you want to show them you're a realtor, and you want to remind them you're a realtor. Ways to do that: you start with that first phone call. Another term that I invented is, rather than asking people if I could put them into my database, yeah, there you go. Shannon used Buffini for 4 years. It is awesome. And that's still the foundation of everything I do. When now I forgot what I was going to say. We rewind. Does anybody remember? Was anybody paying attention?
Unmute. Remember the last thing she said?
No.
In my notes, I got tell them you're a realtor, show them you're a realtor, remind them you're a realtor.
Yes.
If you kept going after that, I was still typing.
Okay. That's what I had in my notes, and then I must have gone off on that. My keep in touch list. I call it my keep in touch list. I don't say, do you want to be on my database? Can I, put you on my mailing list? Can I put you on my email list? Nobody wants to be on any of those things. But if I asked you if I could put you on my keep in touch list, how would that make you feel? Right? It's a super easy ask. I have literally never had someone say no. Get them on your list and then send them something. So make sure that you've got a system in place to regularly communicate with them. This is the one-to-many part of it. This is just the sort of foundational keeping in touch. Buffini's process is to send an email every month and to send a snail mail every month. That's what we try to do. Our systems, we kind of, if we fail on anything, it's those ones. We just found a local company that is doing our snail mailing that we're happy with. We've gone through a few different things that we've tried, and we did Buffini for several years. The email.
Real quick, I called you Shannon just then. Sorry, Ruth. What is it that you are actually? What piece is that in the mail that you're sending them? So
that's always the sticking point, right? I would say that the real answer is it doesn't matter. You can find something that will work for you. We tried, and I do tend to overthink things. So if you're an overthinker, welcome to my club. We tried several different things, and we just found a local company that actually puts together local information. So the one that they sent out the end of November was all about winter activities nearby. So that's the sort of thing they do. And we've been doing that just for a few months. Before that, we were putting together our own information. So it might have been market information from KV Core. We would try to do some local information. That's a huge task. So try to find something that you can actually make happen every month. Even if it's a lower level of quality, it's better than consistency over quality, I guess is what I would say there. And by quality, I mean, don't send a piece of crap, but it doesn't need to be the best thing that anybody ever got in the mail either. So most of the time, you're just trying to get an impression between the door and the trash can. So anything that accomplishes that is pretty good. And you know, some people want to know about postcards versus envelope mailing. I open my mail, but I don't know that everybody does. So postcards are probably a little bit more consistently viewed. But I think really anything that works that has your name on it that they see once a month, hold in their hand, is good. Email, same thing. I like to use email as an opportunity to use video. So that gets you, again, face-to-face, voice-to-voice. It's one way, but it's still you, and that matters. BombBomb is a really great way to do that. You guys might have something in your CRM that allows you to do that. But if you figure out what your content is going to be and do that consistently, that's the best way. We recently had Russ Lagan, who's regional director of growth for EXP, come and speak to us. And he used a great method, and you can look up his YouTube. He uses a great method for using monthly market reports to communicate with your list and to grow your list. So whether it's email, snail mail, or a combination of the two, that is your one-to-many marketing. That's what you're sending out. And that's where everybody likes to live. Like that's the easy, it doesn't feel like a heavy obligation. That's not where your business is going to come from. So besides that, you need to touch everybody personally. You can make it a phone call. You can also use a video text. There is another program that I have added on top of Buffini. It's called Sphere Influencer, and you can Google that. Amber Joy is the realtor and coach who runs that. And she uses a little more techie methods. So video texts are a really big part of her process. And the number one thing we use those for are birthdays. So if you've had a birthday lately, Facebook birthdays are like the best thing that ever happened, right? You feel like you're freaking royalty, right? But you get 1,000 happy birthdays. They're not distinguished from one another very easily. I mean, you see the names for a second. So if you do that to wish your people a happy birthday, you're just one of 100. If you send them a video text, and I'm goofy, so I sing, and I just sing them happy birthday, and it takes 10 seconds, and I text that to them. Nobody else is getting a happy birthday like that. I guarantee it. So once a year, somebody gets me singing happy birthday to them. Depending on where they are in that ranking of A, B, C, and D, they may get more video texts from me. I might be talking about the market. I might be talking about how freaking cold it is outside. Typically, I try to relate those to something that has real estate relation, but consistently touching the people on that list is what's going to bring you good, consistent business forever, and it's going to grow.
Could you drill down just a little bit on the ABCD?
Yes. So when you go through and you're ranking your list and you're calling people and you're saying, so I have two business questions, or 2 questions. One's business. Do you have a realtor that you would call if you were going to sell your house next week? Yeah, my brother's a realtor. Okay, that's awesome. Sometimes you might find that while you're going to use your brother, somebody else might not be a great fit for him. Could I be second on your list? Yeah, that's cool. All right, you're second on. These people are never going to move with you. His brother's a realtor. Maybe get the brother's name and just make sure he stays in the business or ever sells a house. But other than that, you know, that's not an A relationship as far as business goes. So you're probably going to put him in the C, B range on your list, depending on how close you are otherwise. You want to get about, so the people I actually have A plus and then A. A pluses are anyone who's bought or sold a house in the last year. So we keep in close contact with them and find out if they are the kind of person who's going to introduce us to other people. A's are people who have ever bought or sold with us. Anybody who has given us a referral to somebody they know. And that doesn't necessarily mean that that referral buys or sells. It's the activity of the introduction that we want to keep close to them because they're going to do it again. People who refer, people who don't typically don't. So part of what you're doing as you're calling and talking to people is trying to figure out who those people are who are going to be your major referrers. So they become the A pluses. You talk to them more often. You should make sure you're talking to them at least once a month. They're the people you take out to lunch. They're the people you take to coffee. B's are going to be maybe people who bought or sold a long time ago, who don't ever respond to you, who don't come to anything that you invite them to, who, you don't want to necessarily get off your list, but you're not going to spend a lot of time and money on them either. And then sometimes all of a sudden you get a referral from them and you go, I didn't even think they liked me anymore. But they're the people you're going to probably keep emailing. Maybe you're not going to put them on your snail mail list, or maybe you have them on both, but you have a number of people that you connect with on that level, but not a deeper level. C's are usually people who are just coming into your database, who you're going to try to figure out which direction are they going to go. Are they going to get closer to you, or are you going to delete them? D's are delete. You're muted.
There you go. That's people coming into your sphere, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So not just a lead, not just anything. It's somebody coming in. You've met them, introduced, but you don't know how they're going to fall.
Exactly. And when I say your list, I specifically mean your sphere list. I keep this separate from any other list. And the statistics are that database conversion is somewhere between 10 and 15% compared to internet lead, cold lead, and those leads, obviously, as you know, are people who've raised their hands for something. People who are really, really good at it have maybe a 4% conversion. So this is, there's gold in them, our hills.
Way to speak Tennessean just there.
Right? So that's it in a nutshell. I mentioned Buffini, I mentioned Julie Nelson. A couple of other resources are Ninja Selling, really great book, and they've got a whole lot of other collateral. There's a podcast, there's videos, tons of stuff. And then Austin and Nate Chevron are out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, they run their team, which I think last August was the highest selling team in EXP. They run completely on referral. So they teach their team members how to do this. And they have a coaching program called ASP Live, Agent Success Program. That's another thing you might want to check out. So everybody's got kind of a little bit of a different take on it, and you're going to find what you mostly connect to, or the person that you connect to. But it all comes back to the same thing. Build a list, build a system, talk to people that you already know.
Nice. So real quick in the group chat here, or right here on screen, everybody just, if you want to hit unmute, and real quick, just give a brief description of what your sphere is right now. So here's an example. I got a divorce about 2 years ago. everyone that was in my sphere, let's just say, dissipated. And I no longer have a sphere. So I start fresh. I'm out there meeting people in a whole different occupation, in a whole different realm, trying to say, hi, not only I'm a realtor, but hey, my name's Phil. I'm a guy. I'm friendly, that kind of thing. And then we have some people who have lived right here all their life. They know people from high school. They've got connections deep and wide. Um, what would you do in the scenario, Ruth, of being somebody that is, if you move to the area, like Sheahan is new to the area, that kind of thing. I am basically new, starting out right here. How would you approach making this list from a stranger to the area? Kind of.
So I would find things to join where there is some interest connection. So one of the things I did, and this is a little harder to do now because there's a lot of them that are done. I did many years ago, started a moms group for moms in my neighborhood. I've probably made, I don't know, I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars from that group. It's a way for people to get to know me where we already have a connection. We're moms of kids in this elementary school district. So if you are into, dirt biking or hang gliding or anything, dogs, cats, find the groups in your area, make sure that they're area specific because it's not going to do you a lot of good if it's a national group. I have one of my agents in my organization has a bulldog. She's joined every local bulldog group. So if you own a bulldog, you are like, it's like, it used to be John Prine for me. If you knew John Prine, like you were my friend. I didn't really need to know anything more about you. So for Melissa, if you've got a bulldog, she knows that you've got a connection already. That's the fastest way to find more people who you're going to connect with, connect on an issue or a hobby. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Networking event starting in January every Tuesday at Topgolf for realtors. All right. And so just dropping in your brains real quick, EXP people. EXP has a 3-tier model of how to make money in real estate, right? Number 1 is to sell real estate, make commission. Number 2, you do get paid in stock, discounted stock when you do closings. And the third way to actually make money in real estate with EXP is if you bring somebody on, not just onto the team that we're on, but bring them onto, even if they just become an EXP agent. That agent attraction arm does allow you to make a residual income on the company side of their commission for the life of them selling real estate with EXP as you're in EXP as well. And so there are some agents out there that their main part of real estate, the main thing that they do is attract other real estate agents to EXP. They sell a little bit, but then that business of agent attraction becomes the main building block of what they do. And so like Jake was saying, this event for realtors, that could even be a list you create of realtors that you want to speak to about the benefits of being an EXP agent. So,
by the way, these same methods work for agent attraction.
Yeah. All right, gang. Let's see. All right, we are getting close to time, but do you guys have any questions? Y'all can feel free to unmute. Any questions about what a sphere is, who goes on the list, actions, activities you should be taking, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I got a question. So being 23, my entire sphere is fresh out of college. They haven't established their careers, barely affording rent. and they're definitely in no position to be buying a house. That's
Okay,
the
do any of them have a mom or dad?
They sure do.
Yeah,
And that's what I've kind of not been going after, but a lot of them aren't looking to sell. So a lot of my, best friends that would ever buy from me, like I have a guy who wants to buy from me, but his credit's not there. He's only got like 3,000 saved.
so
Being in college.
that's the other thing. This process is not about who's going to buy next month.
It's
Most
long
of the people that I'm working with buying and selling houses now this year are people I met 2 or 3 years ago who've consistently been getting my points of contact. So this is typically not a super quick turnaround process. You're planting seeds. Some of them are like, lettuce, and that's going to sprout and grow in the next couple of months. Some of them are oak trees. Some of them are bamboo that's going to grow down for 5 years before it starts growing up. So what you want to focus on is the planting and the nurturing. The business comes as a result of that. So it's like, if I wanted to lose weight, this is my favorite. Dating and weight loss are my two analogies I use all the time. But if I want to lose weight, I can't really focus on the pounds I want to lose. I need to focus on what I eat and how much I move, right? If I focus on that, there's it without, some sort of medical issue, there's no reason, there's no way that doesn't result in my ultimate goal. But the focus has to be the activities.
I'll call you for dating tips later, because single dad ain't bad.
Now
right.
I've been married for a long time. I probably forgot a lot of them, but I used to own a bar, so I had a front row seat too.
Hey,
Everything.
good plan. All right. Anybody else on the call? Question about your sphere of influence, the ABCD list, points of contact.
If something occurs to you later, hit me up on Workplace, get my contact info. I'm happy to help anyone, anytime.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I'm going to end the recording, and then we can just chit chat for a second. And let's see. There's my button.